Hey guys, welcome to Film Feature 43, where today we're going to talk about the comic book Marvel team-up Spider-Man and the not ready for primetime players, or should I say...
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
So we start with Peter and Mary Jane trying to find seats in a taping for SNL. I should mention this takes place in the late 70s, so it's going to be the cast like John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray, the older cast from SNL. And we have John Belushi, who has a ring stuck on his finger, and we see the Silver Samurai, who you've seen a version of from Wolverine show up, and guess what? Yeah, he's looking for that ring. Specifically that ring that just happens to be at Saturday Night Live.
At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country.
At the same time that Peter Parker's there watching it with his girlfriend. Then you have Stan Lee, who happens to also be hosting SNL, which I feel like is kind of an audition tape, kind of like an American Idol audition tape, that seems to kind of fall through because he actually never hosted an episode in real life. But he's there hosting, and the bad guys start kidnapping people, and Bill Murray knocks one of the guys out with a rubber Mjolnir, and he steals his clothes to go undercover and kind of figure out what these people are doing. And all of a sudden the cast starts falling through the floor, and Spider-Man shows up and sends them right back up through the floor with his webbing. And then these two idiot thugs think that Lorraine Newman is Ms. Marvel because she's dressed up for a sketch in the show as Ms. Marvel, which means that the superheroes in this universe are real, and Stan Lee is just writing down their adventures, I guess, like comic books or newspapers in this world of the next thing that has happened to these heroes.
Maybe a quarter of it happened, and not like this.
Or maybe Stan Lee has powers like in the movie Inkheart or Bedtime Story, where these stories that he's telling, anything that he writes down on the page actually comes to life. Either way, there are comics that are being written that are big enough to get Stan Lee famous enough to host Saturday Night Live based on people that really exist, or Stan Lee conjured these characters up and they're real enough to actually scare bad guys. So I don't know what's going on, but in some way Stan Lee is still writing comic books in this universe, and the heroes actually exist as well. So take that for whatever you may think of it. Then you have Garrett Morris dressed like Thor, and the ruse is quickly uncovered because Garrett Morris is black and Thor is Swedish, and the thugs are really confused about this. But then the SNL cast members shock the bad guys with just random cables that are laying around. They hook them to the catwalk and the bad guys get electrocuted, which definitely killed the bad guys, so hooray, I guess. So you have the Silver Samurai attack John Belushi as Belushi's character Samurai Futaba.
Well, I can dig where you're coming from.
And then you get a weird sidebar where a guy asks Mary Jane what she's doing after the taping, even though he saw her come with Peter. And she's like, oh, what do you have in mind? Which seems kind of dirty of her, but these Spider-Man comics, the older ones especially, kind of have a weird relationship with Mary Jane and Peter. It's an on-again, off-again thing. The ring has the power of teleportation built into it. Samurai gets the ring, puts it on, and poof, he transports away. The show ends, and Spider-Man's like, well, I guess I'll find him another day, and doesn't attempt to go after him in any way. Then we get kind of a denouement of a bar on the downtown side of New York, and Mary Jane's telling her story about how this guy was asking her these weird things about going on a date, and he seems concerned. He's like, he asked you to do what? You cut to Belushi talking about how the ring was supposed to go to J.B. Lushi, and that's the best joke of the whole comic. So that's the end of the comic, actually. They have one more joke about him finding Spider-Man's webbing and wondering when Spider-Man's going to have his own spin-off, and the comic ends right there. So That's when Spider-Man fought the Silver Samurai with the cast of Saturday Night Live. So I'm going to do a couple of these videos. I'm going to do one where Spider-Man meets Barack Obama. I'm going to do one where David Letterman is hanging out with the Avengers. And I'm going to do one where Jeremy Lin plays basketball with the Incredible Hulk. And any more of these kind of weird niche celebrities in comics type stories, I'm going to try to find them and kind of go over what they are. So if you don't have access to them, you kind of know that they're out there, and that's kind of something interesting that you know about comics. So subscribe to my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.